I have extras in my office.
I'll make a motion to call the meeting to order.
All right.
Second.
Great. Pledge of Allegiance. Ron, can you read us, please?
No.
Or us? Salute to the flag.
I don't do it.
You don't do it? Okay. I'll do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. We're going to kick this meeting off with a with the dedication. Oh, do we don't even do this, right? Okay. We're going to dedicate this meeting to our transfer station employees this month. Gary Koch, Diana Mackey, Jim Schulhoff, and PJ Agnelli. Earlier this year, they worked through the challenges of a broken compactor while continuing to provide exceptional service to residents. And I prepared these, so bear with me because it's all true stuff. Whether you're dropping off household waste, recycling, or simply stopping by on a Saturday morning, they greet community members with a smile, answer questions, and keep operations moving smoothly. What many people don't realize is that our transfer station serves not only Stanford residents, but also residents and small businesses from neighboring communities. It is an incredibly important asset for our town. You'll notice later on tonight's agenda that we're discussing transfer station bids once again, as we had to reissue the request for proposals. I want the community to know that we remain committed to maintaining this essential service and are doing everything we can to keep rates stable through the end of the year. Please join me in thanking Gary, Diana, Jim, and PJ for everything they do for Stanford.
Roll call, Julia Dakota.
Yes, here.
Charlie Cunningham.
Here.
Eric Haynes.
Present.
Meg Leverchu.
Here.
Teddy Seaport.
Here.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We go in reverse order. Nathan, do you want to
I
start?
don't have any.
You don't have it? Oh, that's
They're
right.
not meeting this month.
That's right. All right. So
Done.
we'll just go straight on to my left. Mr. Nix himself, Eric Haynes.
Let's go Knicks. Okay, the planning board met on May 28th. There was a public hearing for a lot line alteration at 163 and 135 Decker Road in Stanfordville. It was presented by John Tamburino. This involves a lot line change between two lots to get encroachments onto the correct parcel with the hopes to sell the lot. Public hearing had very few comments. Public hearing was closed for business. There was the lot line alteration, the same item that we had the public hearing about, 163 and 135 Decker Road, Stanfordville. It was a type 2 action, no C-Corps. There was a motion to approve the lot line alteration, and the motion passed. The next item of business was a special use permit, home occupation, at 2641 Salt Point Turnpike in Clinton Corners. This is for Rob and Stephanie Popper. They would like to roast and sell coffee beans and construct a barn on their property. They can construct the barn as of right. So the planning board suggested that they go to the building department and get a permit for the barn first, and then come back to them to deal with the use of roasting and selling coffee beans. Next item was a special use permit, resort and recreation at 311 Huns Lake Road in Stanfordville. This was a discussion about an application on a retreat center for the property. The planning board suggested that they need a land use law attorney to determine how the application fits within the town's existing zoning laws. So they have more work to do, and they'll be back either next month or the final month, the month after. And that was it. They're meeting again June 24th, 7:30. For short-term rentals update, there are 31 active. We have a few more active now, which we figured we would have because it's summertime.
And do you remember where we maxed out last year?
Which one? At
We don't need for that.
52.
52, that's
Or
right.
51.
Right, which is why we did 55.
Early July.
18 of them are compliant, 13 of them are non-compliant, but the good news is there are 6 applications in with the building department that are in various stages of completion. So once those 6 applications become permits, which we hope they do, that will leave only 7 left that are non-compliant that we have to continue to chase after to get their permits. And that's it.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
All right. Moving right along, we've got the Water Quality Committee met last month on the 20th. And some topics were the engineering planning grant that was being discussed. The committee acknowledged the town's current work on zoning revisions tied to the comprehensive plan, which at this time kind of precludes pursuing an engineering planning grant application this year. That decision has been communicated to Cornell Cooperative Extension and Delaware Engineering, who we were talking to at that time. As for the committee, we met with our new chair, Dennis Wedlick, here in this room actually, and the Water Quality Committee discussed alternative paths to achieve the goals of the group and promoting rural freshwater conservation issues even without a current study in place. An initial focus on understanding the water quality concerns of residents, businesses, and institutions was announced, and this will be kind of focused and organized into 3 teams: residential, businesses and farms, and institutions, being us, the town, and other committees. And so our first educational initiative will be coordinated with the town's Green Pasture Grant, which provides free water filter pitchers to residents. More on this at the next meeting. They're looking at how to do some educational events around that leading up to Community Day. And there was some discussion of road salt contamination of groundwater, identified as another local threat. Committee also discussed the overlap with the New York State Climate Smart Communities Certification Program, which the town is working on currently. So watershed planning is a component of this program. And the committee adopted a streamlined meeting and documentation format to make efficient use of members' volunteer time. The next Water Quality Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, June 17th at 5 p.m. Great. And I think we need to work out how to get it on the board down
Okay,
at the bottom of
just
the
let
hill.
me know.
Yeah, I think we need to work on
A monthly
that.
reminder.
Yep. All right, so moving on to the zoning committee. Zoning committee met on May 21st, and this was kind of big discussion on the feedback shared by members of the public regarding the proposed local law 1 at the May Town Board meeting. This led to further discussion about how to integrate that feedback shared at the meeting into future recommendations by the zoning commission to the town board. And knowing that the town board ultimately did not pass local law 1 and the current updates to the zoning code are now on pause. The group shared ways to move forward with the zoning code updates by exploring legal and planning consulting firms to aid in the process of updating the code and taking into consideration the comprehensive plan recommendations. The zoning committee also briefly discussed the draft home occupation section and bringing in future consultants to help with the process and future text amendments. Meeting minutes from April were approved by the committee, and the next meeting will be held on June 18th, which is next Thursday. All right, and then one more last minute hot topic was the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting last night. The ZBA met at 7:30, and the board approved the minutes for the May 13th meeting, and the single agenda item was a request for a front yard setback variance 40 feet to build a residence located at 234 Charwell Drive, Clinton Corners, 12514. They said there will be a public hearing held at the next meeting for this variance request. I think it's normally 100 feet, and there's like a slope issue with the building, so they're looking to push it up a little bit. And so next meeting is July 8th, 7:30 p.m. There will be a public hearing at that meeting for that residence application.
Interesting.
Thank you, Charlie, for attending the ZBA in my
You're
stead.
welcome.
So that leaves the Haunted Fortress and CSC. Haunted Fortress, our big ticket item is the fact that starting June 28th, we are going to be outside working and setting up the haunted house. If you have any interest in working in our ever-burning world, in probably 100-degree weather.
Say more.
It's a really good job, and it's all free, volunteers. We're going to be starting June 28th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. is usually when we peter out. We have about an hour break where we all sit together and have lunch. If you want to just show up. We'll have something for people to do. You will need to fill out a volunteer form, though, a waiver form. Please get in contact with me. I can set you up with that, or you go on the town website, and there should still be our waiver. So again, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., June 28th. CSC, I met with Brendan today. We were discussing the task sheet. Brendan is, as of tonight's meeting, will be appointed as the CSC coordinator to kind of act as a body double and help us really get things done and really do most of the work.
I've never heard that before.
Wait, what? Didn't hear what before?
Body
A
double.
body double.
A body
I was just,
double? Yeah, yeah.
I've never heard that as a figure of speech.
So I'm excited, we talked today a little bit about kind of the closest, second closest, and the farthest items from being achieved, and really who's going to be the source of information for certain data that we already have. Brendan's going to be kind of the everything man behind this, and is really going to be the wizard behind the curtain. So that's exciting news. I'm really excited that Brendan will be part of our team.
Cool.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Teddy. So they keep repeating Brendan, so I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to put in my newsletter this week. Brendan officially started. I want to welcome Brendan. He's in the audience here. Hopefully he says something, so I'm just not talking it. Yeah, exactly.
Get a camera shot.
So Brendan approached the town board a few weeks ago, and he's a phenom. If you don't know Brendan, he lives on Dual Road, and he's like immediately jumped in, wanting to use his skills that he just acquired as an environmental policy major from Bard to figure out how to put that into action. And how do you actually get things that you see at the environmental level done at the municipal level? And so Brendan approached me with an idea of becoming an intern. And I was like, great, sounds great. And it's actually been really, really cool. And I want to officially introduce Brendan. He's going to be our policy intern this summer, and he's going to be working with us into the fall. And his job is to basically bring like his experience of like environmental policy and how do we make it practical in the most simplest way possible. How do we listen to the community? How do we hear what they're saying? And how can he, as an asset, help us sort of like bring everything together communication-wise? Because one of the first things that Brendan did was print the comprehensive plan, and now he's reading the comprehensive plan and trying to like ingest it in a very short amount of time, hearing all of these committee reports and saying, okay, how does zoning collide with climate action, with conservation action, with haunted fortress maybe, or water? How do we think about all of these things together, and how do we sort of like put some arms around what we want to do as a community into a policy perspective? So I'm really excited that he's coming on this summer. You'll see him a lot around town. He'll be at the CSC meetings, he'll be at the CAC meetings, he'll probably be popping into a lot of water quality committee meetings, probably maybe the zoning commission if he would like, but just to see sort of how everything comes together. So I wanted to officially introduce Brendan, and you will see him in the newsletter tomorrow. Okay. My reports. Okay, CAC. We didn't actually have an attendee, but I took the minutes to read them. I could not make the meeting, and unfortunately no one on the town board could. So the committee discussed a few things, including implementation of the local law that was adopted last month. You'll see on the agenda that we're appointing 2 new members of the CAC to reflect that local law update. There were discussions of the installation of Barry's Memorial Bench at Levitt Preserve. So when would that be installed? Probably likely in time around Community Day. There were also some maintenance items like restoring gravel displaced by the winter plowing, mowing plans for the pollinator meadows, maintenance of the dogway stations, and options for a new informational kiosk were also discussed. Totally random, but I read pollinators. And are the bees out this year? I feel like they're out like in much more, like I can hear them. It's wild. So thank you for all of the pollination efforts. Rec Campaign also held a landscaping roundtable, and CAC member Natalie attended to that. So really thinking about how we can add some sustainability in terms of plantings around the park. So expanding shade and working in phases over time. Also, the historic oak tree fertilization. I believe that tree is 200. How old is that tree? I'm looking at Diane. 150 to 200. So a significantly old tree in the middle of town, and they are getting rarer and rarer. That fertilization project has been complete, but there is potentially an unstable limb over Route 82 that may require cabling and additional evaluation. So that should be fun. The committee also discussed concerns regarding off-leash dogs at town preserves and ways to engage users of the preserves in a constructive conversation regarding balancing recreational and environmental stewardship. And if you can put it on your agenda to go to the Whitlock Preserve Walk on June 13th at 9 a.m., there's one coming up. And there's also a Life in the Wappinger Creek, a watershed exploration. This is really cool. June 20th at 10 a.m. So really just introducing people to, the water that we see behind the wreck, what is in it, what are sort of the microorganisms that are in it, and what do they do. The next meeting is next week, June 17th at 6 p.m. I'm going to try to get through these rather quickly. Fire district update, I was unfortunately not able to attend that meeting either last month, but I will be attending next month. There was nothing that affected us too much on the agenda. I do, however, want to encourage everyone to support tomorrow's Fire Company Golf Tournament. The proceeds this year will help support activities surrounding the 25th anniversary of September 11th. For those of you that were around, well, most of us in this room, it's a really moving display, and so there will be a lot of efforts around that this year. And EMS ambulance update. Everyone knows that EMS and ambulance is a important challenge in this area. In May, I started talking about the fact that we participated in a regional meeting with Empress and several neighboring municipalities, including Washington and Armenia, to discuss opportunities for collaboration and potential service consolidation. A follow-up meeting was held at the end of May to begin evaluating what a future model might look like, and the goals are the same that they were even when we brought on our own ambulance, when the fire company when we moved it to privatized. The goals are the same: to maintain or improve service levels, to utilize what now we have available to us, county fly cars, more efficiently, and explore opportunities to reduce long-term costs through partnership. The conversations are all exploratory, but they've been productive and necessary as we work together to address increasing EMS costs and staffing challenges. Last month I quoted it would be about $840,000. The numbers that I looked at in the meeting at the end of May for our yearly increase were in an increase of 11%. So for those of you that are familiar with the $768,000 in the budget that goes to EMS, an 11% increase is basically $870,000. There's another meeting that's scheduled tomorrow with Empress to continue discussions around service coverage under potential future models. So I will be very open and transparent about all that. I want to be very clear that there's no decisions that will be made without the involvement and support of the fire company. And additionally, we will be meeting with Northwell later this month to discuss alternative service models and opportunities. Our hope is to have a clearer picture of potential options within the next 2 months so that we can properly budget for next year. For the month of May, 24 calls were received, 16 calls were answered by our dedicated vehicle. Our service vehicle response performance included 5 P1 calls with 4 answered in under 10 minutes, 4 P2 calls answered in under 15, all answered in under 15 minutes. All the calls were answered under their SLAs, and so it's really important that we get the reporting every month on what these service level agreements, they're not really service level agreements, but there's benchmarks in the industry, and I want to make sure that we're falling within that for the dedicated model that we have in our town. So that's why I read them off. They were all within the SLAs. One important topic that I want to just bring the community up to speed on is battery energy storage. There's been a lot of activity happening in this realm, and Brendan is actually going to help us research everything that we should be thinking of. We were approached by the developers who developed the solar field behind Town Hall, and we conducted a walkthrough with them last month. when they called us in February, we were pretty clear that we were a no because of our fire company and the risks associated with lithium ion. So when we met with them last month, they introduced a new technology of battery that is zinc-based and doesn't have a fire threat. But there are things that we also don't know about, sort of long-term, residual impacts on the environment. I think we all want to, that land is not developable land at all. And I think if it makes sense to the community, if the fire company is bought in and we can find some form of a pathway forward to support green energy in the state, I think we're interested in doing that. But the cons right now, in terms of that lot back there, is improperly zoned as well. So that is a big consideration. We'd like to do the due diligence that in the event that we do not end up moving forward with battery energy storage, we have a very clear picture of how we should be legislating against it and how we should be thinking about it and including all of the language about updated technologies into that law. So we really want to be a model for rural local laws associated with battery energy storage. And we're one of the only communities that has been approached in Dutchess County. All right, I'll go into the supervisor. Okay, so we're in the supervisor's report. The next thing I want to talk about is a neighborhood road safety initiative that we want to kick off. This past month has generated significant discussion regarding speeding and roadway safety throughout Stanford. The closure of Cold Spring Road and resulting detours have certainly amplified the concerns, but the reality is that residents have been raising these issues for years. At our town board workshop this week, we discussed how to move beyond anecdotal concerns and begin collecting meaningful data that can guide future decisions. As a result, we're interested in establishing a neighborhood road safety committee. The committee's first responsibility would be discovery and education of the community of their efforts, and this could include anything like working with Dutchess County Planning and Transportation Council staff for research, reviewing data from the recently completed Dutchess County Transportation Safety Action Plan, identifying locations where speeding concerns exist, utilizing the town's speed monitoring devices, reviewing site distance and roadway visibility issues after consolidating community feedback through something like a survey, et cetera. I'm making all these things up, but I want to just be clear that there's going to be rigor behind what we want to do here. Only after collecting sufficient information would the committee begin evaluating potential solutions. These solutions could include consistently relocating the speed monitoring signs that we have available to us on a more regular basis rather than calling them to different places based on feedback. And that's something that we do. We'd like to get into more of sort of a groove in terms of how we move those along. And those were really, we haven't had people giving feedback about the speeding through town, but that is going to come as Route 82 gets fixed in August. So those concerns are going to amplify yet again. And those speed monitoring signs are meant for Route 82 because that's an ongoing thing that we would like to integrate into this, but we're still waiting on the DOT to get back to us on when they can measure the roadway to give us some options for what we can do with it. So relocating speed monitoring signs, potentially additional temporary or permanent signage, requests for speed limit reductions if pertinent, and future traffic calming measures that we're learning about every day that are coming up. We also, like I mentioned, want to coordinate with the future Route 82 safety initiatives. This is not going to be a quick process. Proper data collection requires months and even years, and we want to make sure that we're going through this with like the right frame of mind as a community, and that everyone's on board. If you're interested in participating, please submit a letter of interest to my office. We're looking for residents interested in pursuing community-wide solutions to this ongoing issue. All right. Two more. Okay. Rev 250, July 4th. We're not going to have our next meeting until after that. So I just wanted to call out specifically what is happening on July 4th, in addition to the flea market, which you are already seeing signs pop up around town. That's the community flea market where you can go house to house. We continue preparations for Stanford's Rev 250 celebration, commemorating the 250th anniversary of American independence. The event is being organized through an awesome partnership between the Stanford Fire Company, the Grange, and the town of Stanford. Highlights include a festivity tent opening at 5 p.m., a reading of the Declaration of Independence by our own Ryan Orton, chicken barbecue at 6 p.m., and fireworks at dusk. Tickets are available through Doreen at Town Hall, Kathy at the fire company, or directly through fire company members. And we hope that you will join us. There will be fireworks, which is very exciting. Finances. Sorry, I am almost done. I just want to be very clear. Okay. From a financial standpoint, the town continues to remain in a strong and stable position. Revenues are tracking appropriately, and I'm pleased to report that the building department is currently exceeding projected revenue expectations for the year. And this is newer for them, so we are doing a lot of building around town, which is very interesting. Expenditures are also tracking well. We do have several unforeseen expenses that will require budget modifications, including costs associated with the transfer station, but these adjustments are manageable within our overall financial framework. Sorry for all that. I'll now open it up to privilege of the floor. Okay, close privilege of the floor. I would now make a motion to open the public hearing to enact local law number 2.
Second.
Thank you.
Who was that, Eric?
Yep,
I think you got it first.
by a hair.
Just like the Knicks. I'm going to be making these jokes all night.
But
Aye.
Who would like to speak first, second, third? Janet?
Janet Allison, 28 Patricia Lane, Clinton Corners, New York. I'm here representing the Conservation Advisory Commission.
Could you speak into your mic?
Good idea.
Just for recording?
Good idea. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
she's
Good. Okay.
thumbs up.
So, excuse me, the Town of Stanford Conservation Advisory Commission respectfully recommends that the town consider joining the Hudson River Valley Greenway Compact. Compact is a voluntary regional planning program that can support Stanford's planning goals while maintaining local control over land use decisions. Stanford's landscape, working lands, and rural character are among its most important assets, and the Greenway's emphasis on resource protection, regional planning, and stewardship is well matched to those values. Additionally, the Greenway's goals align with the recommendations and values outlined in the town's comprehensive plan and natural resources inventory, reinforcing the community's commitment to protecting natural areas, supporting agriculture and thoughtful land use, while preserving the community's rural character. Excuse me. Dutchess County has worked for many years to advance the Greenway Compact as a regional planning framework, and Stanford's participation would bring the town into closer alignment with that broader county-wide effort. The compact may also provide practical benefits to the town, including access to planning assistance, technical support, and grant opportunities. These resources could help Stanford further its local planning and conservation objectives while also strengthening connections to countywide and regional initiatives. For these reasons, the Conservation Advisory Commission respectfully recommends that the town board consider joining the Hudson River Valley Greenway Compact as a valuable tool for supporting Stanford's long-term preservation, planning, and community development goals.
Thank you, Janet.
Brendan wrote this.
Thank you, Brennan.
We got a need. Did we get that email?
We did?
Yeah, we have.
We have it.
We had it emailed to us.
I'll
We
take
have
one.
it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Rita needs it.
Margaret?
Hello, Margaret Fallon, 100 Sisters Hill Road, Stanfordville. I just wanted to reiterate a lot of the comments that Janet just made, and to also say I have my wholehearted support. I hope that you pass this bill tonight. I also just wanted to say, for people who maybe weren't here at the last meeting, I really appreciated how much time you spent at the public hearing last month talking about the history of the compact, at the county level, at the town level, how much effort the board has put into doing its due diligence, understanding the impact that the compact would have, especially the supervisor talking to, I think you said, every other mayor and supervisor in the county, and talking about their experiences for many, many years with the compact and how every single one had a positive report to make to you. So again, I just really want to thank the board, and I urge you to pass this tonight. Thank you. And go Knicks. I'll keep it going.
Curtis.
Hi, Curtis DeVito, 43 Bowen Road, and I'm also chairperson of the Conservation Advisory Commission. So I'm here, I just follow-up comments that, following up what Janet had made. First, thank you, Janet, not only for reading our statement today, but Janet really was the person behind getting the ball rolling on the Greenway Compact efforts. And I was looking back at my notes preparing for this meeting today, and when Janet joined the CAC, I believe it was late 2023, like right after that, I saw in my notes, Janet wants the Greenway Compact on the agenda for the CAC meeting, and she kept bringing it up, and she wouldn't let it go, and for good reason. I mean, we all know what the value of belonging to the compact is. So thank you, Janet, for that. We really appreciate it. And I just want two personal notes about the Greenway Compact that struck me. And one was back in 2021, I believe, Mark Molinaro, who at the time was county executive, came to a Stanford Town Board meeting and spoke up. That was the early stages of considering joining the Climate Smart Communities program. And during that meeting, if I recall correctly, the question came up about, well, what about the Greenway Compact? And it turns out he's a huge advocate for the Greenway program, and he basically, there had been concerns, of course, going around over the years about home rule and the impact on home rule. Well, here was Mark Molinaro in this room saying what a great program it is. So that really struck me at the time. So I thought I'd point that out. Also, my own kind of bump up against, in a small way, but maybe, it could be, it adds up and becomes a larger thing. When I was working on the natural resources inventory, there was, I was basically editing what had been prepared by the folks who had done the narratives, mostly the Carey Institute scientists, God bless them. And there was a statement in there about open spaces, and it was a site, it gave there were 10 parcels of 1,000 acres of more of open spaces in Stanford, which was a pretty significant number. And so I wanted to find the citation for that, to drop a footnote, and I couldn't. So I went to county planning, and they said, oh, yeah, we have that information, but we don't share that with you because you're not a member of the Greenway Compact.
Wow.
So after some arm twisting, at least I got him to assure me that statistic was accurate. But he kind of put a plug in saying, well, if Stanford belonged to the Greenway Compact, you would have all this and much more resources available to you. So that kind of stood out. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? All right, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Number 2. Teddy, do you want to read the resolution?
Yes. The full thing, or just the whereases?
I think you can do whereas,
Okay.
because the local law is on the website.
So, Town of Stanford Resolution Number
6A.
6A of 2026 to enact local law number 2, you Charlie, to to enact local law number 2 for the year 2026, a local law adopting the Dutchess County Greenway Compact. At a meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Stanford, Town Board, held at the Town of Stanford Town Hall on the 11th day of June 2026 at 7 p.m., Town Supervisor Julia Decatel called the meeting to order, and she, seconded by Councilperson Teddy Secor, moved the following resolution to enact the following local law to be known as Local Law Number 2 of 2026, entitled "A Local Law Adopting the Dutchess County Greenway Compact," as follows. Whereas the following local law was introduced as proposed local law number 2 of 2026 by resolution number 5G of 2026, adopted at a meeting of the town board held on May 13th, 2026. And whereas the proposed local law was referring to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for an advisory opinion pursuant to New York General Municipal Law, subsection 239M, and the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development provided its response dated June 8th, 2026, with comments in support of the proposal, and recommended that the board rely upon its own study of the facts in the case with due consideration of the county's comments. And whereas the proposed local law was referred to this Town of Stanford Planning Board for a report and recommendation pursuant to Section 164-56 of the Stanford Town Code, and a letter was sent subsequent to the Planning Board's meeting, Planning Board's May 28th, 2026 meeting
Typo.
by Planning Board to the Town Board recommending the adoption of the local law. And whereas the Town Board has determined that the proposed action qualifies as a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, as it involves routine or continuing agency administration and management, and does not include new programs or major reordering or priorities that may affect the environment, and is therefore exempt from environmental review. And whereas the properly noticed public hearing was held before the town board during the meeting on June 11th, 2026 on this local law, now therefore be enacted by the town of Stanford as follows, et cetera, the local law language, the foregoing resolution.
Okay, Julia Dakota.
Rita, did you see the typo that has to be corrected on the page?
On the first page, instead of May 28th, 2016, it should be
Yeah,
2026.
Page 1,
2026.
bottom paragraph.
Got it.
So as amended, I should say.
Okay, Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Absolutely.
Passed.
Great.
It's just she got
I can't make a motion to accept my own.
Curtis, you can call him tomorrow and get that information.
I'll make it public.
Okay, wait a day or two.
I make a motion to accept the supervisor's report.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Make a motion to accept the building inspector's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Transportation.
Yeah, transfer station. Bid, yeah.
Bid.
All right, I'll try to keep it brief. It's like a saga.
Yes, it is.
I just want to say I'm really glad we did the Greenway Compact as well. I think it really is going to open us up. Their funding window opens in October. And we're really in the throes of a lot of worlds colliding, as I've sort of mentioned, and I think they're going to be a really big help to us. So I'm really glad that we've joined, and we appreciate the support of the community in doing this. The transfer station. So last month, we accepted a bid from Lamella Sanitation over in Highland. Unfortunately, they ended up not being able to fulfill the contract terms that we set forth, so we had to reissue the RFP for the transfer station. And we received a bid back from Royal, one bid. We tried to see if there were other regional entities that wanted to bid for the business, and we were not able to find any other options, unfortunately. The good news is that they lowered their rates from the last RFP. The not so good news is that they're about a 25 to 30% increase over what we currently pay. It's tough. but they consolidated recently, and they had a chance to relook at our contract, which hadn't been negotiated in several years. And when you don't have any other choice, it's somewhat difficult. So we are, like I mentioned earlier, we are committed to keeping this service open, but we have to figure out sort of financially how we make it happen. Right now, if you were to look into the budget, you would see that it's not it doesn't create revenue for the town, but it is an essential service that we see benefiting the town. So it's just something that we want to be very straightforward about moving forward. So I will make a motion to accept the bid from Royal Welsh Casella Sanitation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Liquor license for Westerly Canteen.
So the what is
Two
the
Stones.
I don't know what the name of the organization that controls it, but there's the State Liquor Association, I guess we'll call it that.
State Liquor Authority.
State Liquor Authority. There we go. I knew it was an A. They provide entities, organizations, if you will, an allotment of moments to serve alcohol without.
Aye. I will make a motion to appoint the new CAC members. So last month, we extended, or we allowed the CAC to exceed 7 members, so they can go up to 9 members. And as a result, they are appointing Diane Duffus and Brendan Schaff to the CAC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Do you want to do the CSC coordinator?
I got it.
Yay.
So, this is Resolution 6B of 2026, to appoint a Climate Smart Task Force Coordinator. That's a cute little acronym. Motion made by me, Teddy Secor, seconded by...
Second.
Whereas, at the recommendation of the Climate Smart Communities Task Force, the Town of Stanford Town Board appoints Brendan Schaff to serve as the Climate Smart Communities Task Force Coordinator. This role serves to advance our town's goals towards a more sustainable, resilient, and energy-efficient future. The responsibilities of the CSCTF Coordinator, which would be CSCTFC, are manage the CSC certification process, including tracking actions, gathering documentation, and submitting materials to the CSC portal, coordinate efforts across task force members, external partners, and CSC program administrators, ensure alignment with town plans, data sets, and program requirements, translate technical requirements into clear, actionable workflows, oversee communications on CSC projects, and progress to the town board, stakeholders, and the public, serve as the primary point of contact for CSC-related inquiries and administration.
Roll call vote. Julia Dakota?
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham?
Yes.
Eric Ames?
Yes.
Nathan Virtue?
Yes.
Stacy Cora?
1,000 times yes.
You only get one.
You only get one.
I stuffed the ballot there, sorry.
We received a resignation from Sarah Love from the Board of Assessment Review. This is a group that meets, is it just once a year?
Once a year.
Once a year. The review happened last month. That informs what goes into your tax bill, basically. So Sarah Love is resigning from her post, and I'm gonna make a motion to accept her resignation.
Second.
Who was that?
Nathan.
Yeah, all three.
And so this will be in the newsletter. Letters of interest can go to Rita Mary.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of 5/14/26 and 5/27/26.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Was everyone at all of those?
I believe so.
I can tell you that in a second.
I know you were. I was.
Yes.
I think I was.
And yes.
I was.
So we,
You're all there.
so we don't need to do roll call. Okay.
All in favor, right?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. I don't know if I can approve. I could do that. I'll make
Yes, you
him.
can.
Yeah,
Yes, you
okay.
can. Yeah, you
All right.
can.
I'll make a motion to approve the abstract number 6 for June. Highway, General Fund, $85,478.24. Highway Fund, $22,427.47. Bengal Lights, $1,079.19. Planning Board Escrow, $2,082.50. Ambulance, $24,062.50. And the Rec Fund, $1,700 to finish out the paving project at the Rec.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think we have any other.
I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to open privilege of the floor.
Number 2.
You don't need to, but that would.
Yeah, you don't
You
need
don't
to
need
make
to
a
make a
motion.
Oh, I don't?
No,
Okay.
just do it.
Stacy?
Stacy.
What? I will, I'll get there. I figured I'd do it after since I didn't get you before. Stacy Adams, 69 Mills Lane. I know that this is not really a town board item, but Nathan did such a fantastic job encouraging the state to finally look at our town. I would request or somehow try to get some assistance in the same general manner about ways to help the cell service in town, because it's really been declining and it's becoming a safety issue. We get I'll just say at our house, we get absolutely no service. And I'm on SOS from my house in Bengal all the way until I get almost halfway to Pine Plains. So, and the challenge is that it's fine, we have a home phone, but my husband is a first responder, and even his cell phone alerts from the fire department don't make it to his cell phone. So it requires that he carry the pager in order to know if something is happening. And again, I'm like, we're all in the same boat on this. When I first pulled into Town Hall tonight and got out of my car and was walking in, I went to lock my car and my car was on SOS, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It did sort itself out, and I got 2 bars. But I'm on the top of a hill at this point. So I'm preaching to the choir on this, and I get it. The town board is not in control of the towers and the pieces that go on the towers to do that. But if there's a way to somehow look into it, and I'm happy to work on research. I can drive around town with my cell phone and say in 100 different spots, I can sit there for 5 minutes with my phone and say what my Verizon service got, if that helps as backup documentation. But it's a safety issue. At my house in particular, I can't make a call. If I fall in my backyard, I'm screwed until somebody gets there. Sorry, that's on. Sorry, excuse me. But I'm lying there till somebody gets home. Fortunately, I live close to other neighbors. But what would you do at your house? Forget it. There'd be nobody.
Nobody to hear me scream?
Yeah.
No. No, sorry. But it's true. I mean, it's true though. It's true.
Anyway.
There's, no, and I appreciate it, Stacy. I literally just give up. I'll get in my car. I'm not making a phone call. It's dead zone around here.
Yep.
New York State offers funding for something called Connect All grants, and I've read them. Every year, it sort of comes across, and they have a planning phase of it, so you can even go and sort of fund your planning phase, where that could be. And I haven't done all the research on the grant actually. As part of our next year, what I think would be really interesting for us to explore is getting a grant writer for the town who can help us sort of put together some of these narratives. I'm with you on the cell phone service. It's another one of these things, we don't know what it's going to take to fix the problem. So all of that work has to be done. But I hear you. And I wrote down Connect All. So thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Guys, my ring bent, literally bent on my finger.